What if I told you the fastest way to immediately improve your workflow and pacing through your designs came down to punching a handful of keys on your keyboard? My name is Ty. I'm a mechanical engineer at a large aerospace company by day, but today I'm going to pass along the 12 hotkeys every beginner must learn to start improving their designs in Fusion. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Alrighty, so to jump right into it, we're going to be making a 3D printed peg that I'm going to be hanging up in my garage to hold some of the smaller free weights or the little weight plates that we have. To do this, we're going to start by just doing a part design, creating something new. As always, we're going to save it right away. We're going to go to my YouTube files, hotkey video. We'll call this Gym Peg Demo. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is make a sketch for the base of my part. And to do that, I'm actually going to use my first hotkey, which is the S hotkey for the shortcut menu. And in here, I've already got Create Sketch in my shortcuts. If you didn't, you can search for Sketch. Create Sketch pops up. If I hit the X on this, it'll take it away from my design shortcuts. You can actually add shortcuts into this if you know you're going to be using them frequently. That way, when you pop this up, you can just come in here after you hit S and immediately click on the thing you want to use. For this, I'm going to be using the basic XY plane for our part. And let me rotate this around here real quick. There we go. Once again, I'm going to hit my S hotkey and I'm going to use my center rectangle to create our base feature. Cool tip, if you didn't know this for your dimensions, instead of dragging it out and setting your drawing somewhere and then going back in to define the basic dimensions of that feature, you can just start typing them in. So the one that's highlighted, the 80 millimeters, I can just set that one to 155. If I hit Tab, it takes me to my other dimension, which I want to be 65. And now we are fully set. I hit enter. And that thing is good to go. Now the next hotkey is going to actually be our Extrude hotkey. This is the main tool that you use to bring any 2D sketch into a 3D part. And to do that, you just hit E. It automatically recognizes the sketch that I just made. And I'm going to set this to 10 millimeters, which if I rotate around here, we can get a preview of what that looks like. I'm happy with that height and I hit enter. Now what I want to do is add a center peg and a couple of points for my holes to this top face that we're going to extrude and then use our hole tool for here in a second. So I select this face, S, create sketch. This is going to be my third hotkey, which is the circle hotkey. By hitting C, that activates the circle tool for my sketch. And I'm just going to plop that right here on the center. Same as last time. I can drag it, set it, then do a dimension. But if I want to be a little faster, I'm just going to set that to 48, enter. That's good to go. Another common sketch tool is the line tool, which you can get to using the L hotkey. And what's cool is I can drag this up and I'm going to just attach it to the top of this part. But what I don't want is this to be a persistent sketch feature. I actually just want it to be a construction sketch feature. So I'm going to escape out of my line tool to quickly change this to become construction, which you usually have to do by coming to line type and clicking on construction. Just hit the X hotkey and that will turn it into a construction line for you. If I want another line here at the bottom, you can also do this before you start drawing whatever sketch you're making. So for this, I'm going to hit X one more time, click the center, drag it down and connect it, escape out, and there we go. We've got a nice construction line here that I can use for exploiting some points that I'll use with my hole tool. Next thing I want to do, S point, click on point, and I'm going to set one up here that is coincident with this construction line, and I'm going to set one down here as well. Escape out of that. And this is another popular hotkey. Say with like my points, I didn't have the option to just auto define those right away. I'm going to hit D, and that's how you can quickly set your dimensions for different things. So for these, I'm going to set that to 52.5, and for the other hole, I'm going to do the same thing. We'll set that to 52.5. Good to go. Everything looks good for now. I'm going to go ahead and extrude this center circle to get our peg feature. So I escape out, hit E for extrude, click on this center circle, and I'm actually going to make this 115. That looks correct. Happy with that. Now I hit OK. For the next hotkey, I want to use my hole tool, and I'm going to show you a little trick here. The reason I put those points in previously is to make it easier with defining where I want my hole locations to be at. And what else is cool is if you cook in points like I did earlier, you can select multiple points at one time and set them all to the same hole definition. To enable this, let's go to our sketches. Let's real quick rename our sketches. We'll call this base. We'll call this peg in points. We're going to show this sketch, and now you can see my little points are now visible on this top plane that I want to use. And we're gonna use my next hotkey, which is the hole tool that you can get to by hitting H. And what's really cool, I can pick that point and that point. They're already located where I want them to be, and now I just got to adjust the settings for what I want the holes to look like. For this, doing a simple hole, no counterbore, no countersink. It's going to just be a simple through hole, no clearance, no tap, no nothing. And then drill point, since I'm going all the way through, this doesn't really matter, but I'm going to set it to flat anyway. And for my extent type, instead of distance, I want this to always go through to the bottom surface no matter what, in case I change that over time, which is trying to have some good design intent here. So I'm actually going to select 2, I'm going to rotate this around and select this bottom face. That way, if this grows in size, no matter what, the hole will always go all the way through that feature. Last thing to do is just set my diameter, which I want it to be 10. Take a quick scan. That looks good, and I'm gonna hit OK. Now, just to catch myself, since I kind of got a little bit ahead there, one of these hotkeys that's super important is your escape key. So if I go back to my sketch and I hit edit sketch and I'm doing something in here, say I want to make another line, we'll just go blah, blah. We're just plopping some lines. If I want to get out of this tool, and the majority of tools, all you have to do is hit escape. The big considerations that it won't work for are things like splines. If I delete these real quick and I go to my spline tool, if I start plopping in splines and I hit escape, it just canceled out everything I added in, right? So for splines, you have to make sure you hit your check mark to say you're done with your splines. The next thing that I want to do is add in a couple of slots on these 2 different holes, just so that I can slide this part into position and not have to worry about taking the bolts all the way out of the hole. That way it makes it easier to install. And here's a little trick too. You could hit your S hotkey and start a sketch this way, but if you want, you can also right click on the surface that you're about to edit, and you can also come to create sketch as well, just to give you another option if you want something that's a little bit faster, depending on how you're using the tools. So this brings up my next hotkey, which is the project hotkey, by hitting P. And what this does is allows us to utilize existing information that we've already cooked into the 3D model, which for this, I want these 2 circles. That way it'll make it easier to guide rail the slots that I'm going to be putting in. So I'm going to hit OK. I just added in those 2 circles, but I forgot I also wanted the edge of this part as well as a reference to make sure that my slots always go to the end. And that's okay. You just hit the P command again, select that feature, hit OK. Now you've got that purple line in there as well to be part of your sketch. What I'm actually going to do is hit the S hotkey, center rectangle. I'm going to plop one to be right at the center of this circle. That's great. I'll do another one down here, center of that circle. That's great. Throw those in for now. I'm going to escape out of that. Tangent constraint so that this line is tangent to the circle. Same with this one. And then lastly, I'm going to escape out of that, and I'm going to search for my collinear constraint, select that, and I'm going to make it so that this line is always collinear with this line. And then down here, I'm going to make this one always coincident with this one. And there we go. You can see on my sketch here, we'll call this small slots. I am fully defined. Red lock icon means everything is good to go and positioned accordingly. So I'm going to hit my E for extrude, and I just need to cut out this and this. And what I want to do is make sure that these always go through this bottom face. So once again, for my extent type, I'm going to go to object, select this face, hit OK. And there we go. We've got some slots cooked into our part as well. So on the topic of finding efficient ways to tackle your everyday problems, I wanted to bring up an app that I use a ton to stay sharp on the engineering fundamentals I refer to on a daily basis. In case you haven't heard of it yet, Briliant is an app that helps you excel in math, science, and coding with step-by-step interactive lessons and personalized practice that really emphasizes learning through doing. The courses on the app are crafted by an assortment of world-class teachers from MIT, Harvard, and Stanford that are all designed for anyone of any age and background, that are all focused on solving problems and not just watching videos. I find personally that I get a ton of benefit from their scientific thinking courses, which cover mechanical engineering concepts like force interactions, gear drives, and other applied science problems that make for a great refresher to help reinforce concepts that are fundamental to a lot of the work that I do. So if you are interested in learning for free on Briliant for a full 30 days, go to brilliant.org/TyWritings, scan the QR code that I have here on the screen, or click on the link that I have pasted pasted down in the description. Briliant's also kindly given my viewers 20% off an annual premium subscription, which gives you unlimited daily access to everything on Briliant. And now let's jump back into some hotkeys that are really helpful when you're designing in Fusion. The last thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna cook in some features for my washer that's also part of the fastener stack. It's gonna go along this same slotting path. That way it can slide in and under. I just want a little recess here to make it a bit cleaner and remove some material that I don't feel like I really need in the part. Don't have to do this. This is actually perfectly useful right now, but I'm gonna do it for my own sanity anyway. So there we go, that looks great. The last complicated thing here is I want to be able to 3D print this. If I were to stand this up on the build plate like this and go layer by layer, most of you will already see that I have a failure point right here at the base of the peg where it would easily snap off, since that would be a layer line between the fused filament. So what I'd rather do is be able to print this thing on its side basically. That way I have the strength of the walls going this way. That way when I apply a load to it coming down on this side, it makes it stronger. As you notice, this thing wouldn't print very well because it would have a ton of support material that I'd have to put under this, which might be okay, but for me, I'm actually going to use some cutting to kind of exploit all the existing geometry that I have and also make this a little more 3D print friendly. To do that, create a sketch, and I'm going to use my project tool one more time. I want all of this and I want this. Hit OK, but you'll notice it only gave me this top line up here. So the last thing I need to do is use my L for line tool and connect these points together just to make the cutting I'm about to do more legitimate. So there we go, we look good. Hit E for extrude, rotate around so we can see what we're doing here. Just for funsies, I'll drag it back in to kind of see where I'm at. And we can start to see that what that's going to do is make a really nice surface area for me to 3D print on and remove that overhanging piece. I don't want it to go too far though. I think the right number for me is going to be about -13. So now we've made a part that is still fully functional because this rounded diameter is still more than halfway present, meaning I only sliced up to maybe like a 1/6 or a 1/5 of the total diameter length sideways, if that makes sense. But on the outside perimeter, I still have enough of the rounded feature to help guide and locate the plates onto the peg. So the last thing I want to do here is add in some chamfers and some fillets, which we can do by searching for chamfer. And I'm going to plop one down here. We'll make that 8, spin it around. That looks pretty good. And you know, I want to add one more to the top, but I don't want it to be the same size. So I'm going to come and hit plus, click on this edge, and we'll make that one 4. And that looks good. I like that. I guess the last thing I want to do is add in some chamfer features here on the slot openings as well, just to kind of make it a little nicer for the printing, but also give me a feature that kind of helps guide the bolts into their little home, if you will, where they will live in the future. So to do that, I'm going to add one more, and I'm going to select all of these top faces here, just to kind of add some little guide rails, basically, to sort of nudge all the parts into position. And for this, I'll make it 2. Yeah, 2 looks great. We'll go with that. Now, I did not use any hotkeys there because chamfer I would have to program in. Luckily, for my fillets, I do have that option. I can hit F to pull up the 3D fillet menu, which is great because I tend to use this a lot. The only things I really care to fillet, this is personal preference. For anybody that 3D prints, with this thing going on the build plate, as the tool head moves from this surface to this surface, it's going to approximate this edge to some degree. It's going to be very small, but if you think about it, it's round filament coming through a round bored nozzle. So when it goes to take a left-hand turn or a right-hand turn at a 90-degree angle, there is going to be a very, very small radius in there no matter what. That doesn't really bother me because this feature is non-critical. It's just kind of hanging out there. So something I like to do for things is to just go ahead and add a bit of a fillet to upright vertical corners, just because it's going to get approximated to a degree anyway. So for me, I'll do those ones. We'll go with 3 on that, hit OK. And there we go. We've got a fully defined part ready to go, ready to 3D print. Now, the last hotkey, there is one more hotkey that I have not mentioned yet, and that is the inspect tool. Something that I like to do before I send something to print is kind of eyeball everything and make sure it looks good. And sometimes I like to be able to measure things to make sure that it is accurate to what I expect it to be. if you click on a feature, it actually gets populated down here in the corner. So for example, the length of the top of this wall right here, if I wanted to know what that is, and I click on that, it tells me it's 30.5 millimeters down here. But let's say I forgot what the distance was between these two and I wanted to sanity check that real quick. If I click on one and I click the other, it actually tells me what the minimum distance is, which is fine, but I actually want the center on center distance. So to easily pull up your measuring tool, you can just click it here. You can just hit I for inspect, click this, and there we go. 105 is my center to center distance, which is exactly what I wanted. 95 is my minimum distance, like we discovered earlier. You can click out of it. You can, click this wall and say, okay, well, how far is it from this wall? Now you know those are 52 millimeters apart. Say you want this guy centered to the wall from my first click point, 32.5. If I click out, I can just click on this. And over here, it will tell me what the diameter is, the radius is, and even my surface area if I really wanted to get crazy. Just another hot tip, using the I hotkey so that you can start inspecting things before you send it to print, or if you're just curious about how far things are apart when you're modeling stuff, highly recommend. So just to kind of close this out, we're gonna go ahead and export this for 3D printing. I like to do this just to make sure people know how to do this if they are intending to 3D print a part. Most importantly, save it, make sure all your changes are persistent. I also know that I want to print this in black. So just for funsies, I'm going to put a black powder coat on it. That's fine. But another trick here with appearances, I actually like to do something like yellow or red or green, just because it highlights the features and contrast things a little bit better. That looks good. So to 3D print this thing, right click on the part, come down to save as mesh, make sure you have print utility active. For application, I'm sending this to my Bamboo Studio slicer because that's the 3D print ecosystem that I'm in, is Bamboo Labs. And then for format, you can do STL if you want, but I've been really enjoying using 3MF a lot more lately, so I have 3MF set and I hit OK. Now, when it pops up, for anyone that's not used 3MF before, it kind of just checks to make sure that everything you're bringing in is appropriate. It's also going to try to do some color matching since 3MF actually carries over colored data from Fusion, which is really nice. For me, I don't need to mess with anything here, and I'm gonna hit OK. And now just to come full circle on what I wanted to do with this print is lay it flat on the side that I care about, and we'll go ahead and rotate it around, and then we'll kind of center it on the plate how we want to print it. That looks pretty good to me, and we'll go ahead and slice it. Change this to line type. Here we go, we've come full circle. You can see why I did everything the way I did. My first layer has a lot of surface area and no overhang, so no supports. That's what I prefer, and I had control of that in my design, which is great, so I can just print this and pull it right off the build plate and have it ready to use. I hope this didn't go too long. I always like to try and make sure I'm making a real world part with a lot of the tutorials I do, so that I'm not just making random tools and just doing a lot of button clicking that doesn't feel like it's for some kind of application. So hope that helps, and I hope you picked up some good tips from this one. Thank you so much for watching, and I really hope that these 12 hotkey tips will make an improvement to your overall workflow and start to become second nature the more you start using them over time, and hopefully allow you to quickly get your ideas modeled and closer to a final product much faster. Feel free to click on some of the videos that I'll have floating here on the screen that a lot of other people have found really useful for improving their projects. I'll catch you on the next episode. Thank you so much for tuning in.